Kore Mwapenduka and welcome to Africa Good Morning on this Thursday, May the 29th, 2025. I am Glenora Shipura. Let's take a look at what you can expect in today's broadcast. We begin in Namibia, where the nation marked its inaugural Genocide Remembrance Day, a powerful moment of healing and unity in the Democratic Republic. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, a rare sighting of the critically endangered Upemba Lechwe antelope stirs global conservation efforts. We then return to Gaza, where crowds overrun a controversial U.S.-backed aid site. Sudan faces a devastating new cholera outbreak, and ECOWAS celebrates 50 years of regional cooperation amid political tension. Plus, Nigeria completes repayment of a $3.4 billion IMF loan. Catch us on DStv 285, GOtv 25, and on our website, oneup2.com. We'll be right back on the other side of this.
Taking flight has never been easier. Paratus is introducing Sky-Fi internet packages with speeds that will have you reaching for your seatbelts, starting from $500 Namibian excluding VAT per month, with speeds reaching up to 10 megabits per second. There's even a prepaid option where you can top up your Sky-Fi internet for just $15 Namibian per gigabyte. No contracts, no fuss. Visit your nearest Paratus branch to find out more, or go to paratus.africa/Namibia to sign up online.
Always prepared, Paratus.
In our top stories, yesterday, Namibia held its first official Genocide Remembrance Day at the Parliament Gardens in Windhoek, marking a solemn and historic moment for the nation. The event commemorated the 1904 to 1908 genocide against the Ovaherero and Nama people under German colonial rule. The remembrance follows years of nationwide consultations, culminating in the official designation of May 28th as a public holiday by President Nangolo Mbumba in 2024. Dignitaries in attendance included President Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, Vice President Lucia Vedbwe, Prime Minister Elijah Ngurare, and traditional leaders, among others. The program featured a candlelight ceremony, interfaith prayers, and performance honoring the memory of the victims. In her keynote address, President Nandi-Ndaitwah emphasized national healing, justice, and unity. The observance not only honored those lost, but also marked the beginning of a national journey of remembrance and reconciliation, an enduring commitment to never forget. Getting into our next story, a rare antelope captured on camera, as experts say, and 100 exist. In a global first, wildlife researchers have captured and published an image of the critically endangered Upemba Lechwe, an elusive antelope found only in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The photo was taken during an aerial survey over the Kamolondo Depression, where only 10 individuals were spotted, confirming that fewer than 100 remain in the wild. Survey leader Manuel Weber described the moment as extremely nerve-wracking, but expressed relief at capturing the photo through a Cessna aircraft window. The Upemba Lechwe is distinguished by its lack of dark leg stripes and shoulder patches, unlike similar species in the region. Weber called the habitat a magical place rich in biodiversity, but warned that human encroachment, hunting, and fishing threaten the area's fragile ecosystem. He described the antelope as on the very brink, and stressed that without urgent conservation efforts, this species may vanish forever. This may be our only chance to save them, he said. Getting into our next story, crowds overrun U.S.-backed group's new aid distribution site in Gaza. Now, thousands of Palestinians overwhelmed a new aid site run by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF, in Rafah. Video footage shows crowds tearing down fences and rushing the compound. The GHF, which bypasses the UN and uses armed American contractors, said demand for staff to retreat. Israeli troops reportedly fired warning shots to regain control. The GHF has drawn criticism for allegedly weaponizing aid and sidelining humanitarian principles. Critics, including the UN, say the system excludes the vulnerable, risk further displacement, and sets a dangerous precedent. Israel claims it's preventing Hamas from stealing aid, which Hamas denies. Despite distributing 462,000 meals, chaos and reports of shouting have marred the rollout. Witnesses described the experience as humiliating and desperate. The UN called the footage heartbreaking and insists a scale-up of its operation is urgently needed to avert famine for Gaza's 2.1 million people. New cholera outbreak in Sudan kills 172 in a week. A deadly cholera outbreak in Sudan has killed 172 people and infected over 2,500 in just 1 week. Authorities confirmed most cases are concentrated in Khartoum and Omdurman, though the disease has spread to other provinces. Doctors Without Borders (MSF) warns that Sudan's overwhelmed healthcare system cannot handle the surge. MSF teams treated nearly 2,000 suspected cases last week alone. Many patients arrived too late, and the true scale of the outbreak remains unknown. Sudan's Health Minister Haitham Ibrahim linked the outbreak to the return of displaced residents, which has strained water supplies. Cholera transmitted through contaminated food or water can kill within hours without treatment. The country, now in its third year of war, is facing what the UN calls the world's largest humanitarian crisis, with over 14 million displaced. The outbreak is part of a larger regional crisis affecting 18 African nations, including the DRC, Angola, and South Sudan. ECOWAS at 50 celebrating unity as the region fragments. On May the 28th, 15 West African nations founded the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to promote regional integration, championed by Togolese President Nazibe Eyedema and Nigerian leader Yakuba Gowon. The Lagos Treaty paved the way for free movement and trade. As ECOWAS marks its 50th anniversary, unity is under strain. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger withdrew from the bloc last year, forming the Alliance of Sahel States. They've severed Western military ties and aligned with Russia. The new bloc recently imposed a 0.5% import duty on ECOWAS goods, defying regional trade norms. In response, ECOWAS introduced transitional guidelines to maintain cooperation. As leaders meet in Accra, they face a critical moment, preserving regional stability while managing a fracturing union. The celebration is bittersweet, honoring past achievements amid rising tensions and the urgent need to redefine integration in a changing geopolitical landscape. That concludes our top stories. We now swing over to the weather predictions for Southern Africa. You're still with Africa. Good morning. Earlier, Ashwin Berry sat down with the newly appointed British High Commissioner to Namibia, Neil Bradley, who assumed the role in May 2025. Their conversation touched on UK-Namibia relations, development partnerships, and future areas of cooperation. Let's take a look at what they discussed.
I have a special guest with me, the newly appointed British High Commissioner to Namibia, His Excellency Neil Bradley. And he's on Africa Good Morning for his very first television interview in Namibia as we get to know a bit about the man and, of course, the work. Greetings, Neil. How are you?
Good morning, Ashwin. Very good and delighted to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Very happy to have you here, Your Excellency. What's been your first impression of Namibia since arriving here?
Well, first and foremost, the very warm welcome that I've received from the government.
Yes.
I was able to present my credentials to the President very, very quickly,
Yes.
in 48 hours of arrival, which means I can get on with my job here.
Yes.
My team at the High Commission, and also in my day-to-day interactions with people.
All right.
It's a friendly city, and I'm sure that extends outside Windhoek.
Oh, certainly. And so far you've just been in Windhoek, essentially just settling in? Or
Yes,
have you already managed to do some traveling?
A little trip outside Windhoek, but just to Okapuka at the weekend.
All right.
But starting mostly with sort of introductory meetings and calls.
Yes.
But I did have a chance to visit Katatura.
All right, lovely.
To single
Single quarters. Oh, yes.
And to try the kapana.
Yes, that is essential. Like just to my viewers, like if you're in Namibia, if you haven't been to Kapana, you haven't been to Namibia. And truly, it's a wonderful place to be. You get to see a lot of cultures amalgamated in that space. And as you know,
Yes.
food is big in Africa, and we
Yes.
all love. What did you think of the Kapana meat itself?
Fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah, very much. I will be going back. For sure. So I had the opportunity to go with my team, and I think it's really important in a role such as mine.
Yes.
To get out and about.
Yes.
To
Certainly.
meet Namibians.
Yes.
To explore all parts of the country.
Yes.
So good diplomats need to get out of the capital.
Yes.
And they need to get dust on their boots.
Oh, yes, and I believe your predecessor did that quite well. I trust you two are going to be doing quite a bit of traveling around Namibia.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think my predecessor, Charles, I think he managed 130,000 kilometres
Wow.
across Namibia
Yes.
in 4 years. So
Yeah.
he set the standard.
Yes.
I will do my best to match that.
And take a camera with, because he took some excellent photography at the same time.
Absolutely. I think he was quite passionate about Namibia's landscapes, but
Yes.
also its wildlife.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I think Namibia has got a way of bringing that out of you, even if it's something you haven't been particularly interested in.
Yes.
Between the wide landscapes, the people, and the interaction with nature, one generally ends up developing a really lasting love for this place.
Absolutely.
But of course, this is not your first appointment. You've been in the diplomatic circles for a very long time. Your most recent appointment was Monrovia, Liberia. What was that like?
Very different to Namibia, so a different country context.
Yes.
So it is very much a least developed country.
All right.
So there are challenges there around infrastructure,
Yes.
provision of services to the public,
Yes.
education.
All right.
So very different country context, and it's also a post-conflict society.
All right.
It experienced a brutal civil war.
Yes.
So to contrast with Namibia, Namibia is a peaceful, democratic, stable country and society.
Yes, indeed.
So it feels immediately different
All right.
on arrival.
Yes.
But no stranger to Africa. I've previously served 2 postings to South Africa
Oh, wonderful.
and 2 postings to Brussels when we were part of the European Union.
All right.
And thematically in London, I've covered human rights and also migration.
Okay.
So a mixture of London, Europe, and Africa.
I mean, I can understand why the president wanted to see your credentials within 48 hours. Very impressive. It's truly, spanning, and that's what we expect, of course, from a diplomat, without a doubt. How do you feel your prior experiences have prepared you for the undertaking in Namibia?
Well, I think, firstly, Southern Africa.
Yes.
and understanding from my time in South Africa the struggle, the liberation struggle, the struggle for freedom. Indeed, on Friday I had the opportunity to visit the Independence Museum.
Oh, wow.
And I was really pleased to see a large group of learners being guided through the museum.
Yes.
And the place was buzzing.
Yes.
And it's really important to remember that the freedom that they enjoy today was hard won and should not be forgotten.
Absolutely.
So I think having had experience of working in Southern Africa, one begins to understand the struggle, the determination and the resilience that people had to show in order to achieve freedom and an independent Namibia.
Yes.
So I think that's really important context in understanding Namibia. Working in Europe, that was working very much around collaboration between states.
Oh, okay.
And if we think of the big ticket issues that we face, the big challenges that we face, it requires that sort of collaboration. That can be on climate change, that may be in the context of trade.
Yes.
And I know that Namibia will be hosting the Commonwealth Trade Ministers meeting.
Yes, in June.
In June.
Yes.
So we look forward to UK representation at that event. So an experience of how states can collaborate together. And then in London on thematic issues such as human rights and migration.
All right.
And the liberation struggle here is very much around human rights.
Certainly,
So
certainly.
one can join the dots.
Yes, connect the dots, so to speak. Yes.
Exactly.
You did mention the Commonwealth Trade Ministers meeting in Namibia. I understand it's the first one outside of the Commonwealth Secretariat.
Well, in terms of on that detail, the Commonwealth Secretariat is very much engaged in the agenda.
Yes, yes,
and how the event is going to be structured.
Yes.
But of course, they have in Namibia an excellent host.
All right, wonderful.
So we look forward to those discussions.
All right.
It is a top priority for the UK government: economic growth, trade, and investment. And I think that's something where we have much in common with the Namibian government. And listening to the President's State of the Nation address, prosperity, economic growth, livelihoods, these are issues that matter to our citizens.
Understandably so. Now, obviously, and you've highlighted a bit about this, Namibia and the UK share some really deep historical ties. Queen Elizabeth was here in 1995 upon the invite of Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma the late, and Princess Anne was here for the burial of Dr. Hageji Gengop. Are there any strategic partnerships that you see will come to life during your tenure?
Excellent question. Well, firstly, economic growth. So how can we strengthen the trading relationship? It's on an upward trajectory. So if you look at the most recent statistics, it's the year to the third quarter of last year. Trade volumes hit 385 million British pounds. Namibian trade in goods and services to the UK more than doubled in that year, up 105%. So the trajectory is positive, but we need to do more, we need to do better. So I think there's something around economic growth, adding value here in the Namibian economy and creating jobs. So that's certainly one priority that we have in common. I've been struck since I've been here by the strength of education ties between Namibia and the UK. A number of Namibians have studied at university level in the UK.
And Chevening, of course.
Chevening scholarships. So we have a Chevening scholarship program. We have an alumni association with more than 170, 180 members. We also, that's to study at master's degree level in the UK. We will shortly be announcing the cohort that will go to the UK to study in September. And at the beginning of August, we will be open for applications again for the following year. So scholarships and education ties. We also have Commonwealth scholarships here to study up to PhD level. So how we can thicken those ties, how we can potentially match those to Namibia's industrial added value strategy for its economy. Culture and sport. Off air, we were talking about Premiership football in the UK.
We were.
It seems as if many people in Namibia who follow soccer follow a UK, an English Premier League team.
100%.
So I think there are things that we have an affinity for, a natural affinity for around sports, sport and culture. I mentioned earlier the Commonwealth, international institutions, the UN. There are challenges that are common to us all that we need to collaborate on.
Yes.
Climate change is one.
Certainly.
I know you've had good rains recently, but
Yes.
there was a severe drought last year.
Oh, definitely.
And this affects ordinary people.
Yes.
So economy, education, culture, sport, some of the big international issues, those are the areas where we need to collaborate. And of course, strengthening people-to-people ties requires a good, well-managed relationship when it comes to migration.
Certainly, certainly. Now, to cap this off, if you don't mind, Your Excellency, I would like to know what the man, Mr. Neil Bradley, would want to take out of Namibia by the end of his tenure. Like, what would you want to take out of this experience?
First and foremost, great memories from collaborating here in Namibia, meeting Namibians, listening to their experiences, learning from their experiences, exploring all four corners of Namibia, this vast and beautiful country, and to have made some progress on the issues that we have discussed. And if we can maintain all of those things and on an upward trajectory, then I think for me, that's what success will look like.
All right. Now, one of the languages that were involved in the formation of the English language was Latin. And one of my favorite phrases is tot facienda parum factum. So little done, so much to do. Welcome
Indeed.
to Namibia, sir.
Thank you very much.
And all the best.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So that was His Excellency Neil Bradley, the British High Commissioner to Namibia, outlining what he expects from his experience here and, of course, the important bilateral relations between the two countries. Thank you for joining us.
Let's get into the economic indicators before we get into a quick economic news story. In our economic news, as of April 30th, 2025, Nigeria has fully repaid the $3.4 billion it borrowed from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, under the Rapid Financing Instrument, RFI, during the COVID-19 crisis. Their emergency loan was granted in April 2020 to help Nigeria manage economic shocks from the pandemic and falling oil prices. The repayment followed a 5-year schedule, including a 3.25-year grace period. Now, despite settling the principal, Nigeria must continue paying about $30 million annually in special drawing rights SDR charges due to a gap between its SDR holdings and allocation. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. From me, Glenora Shipura, I'll see you tomorrow morning.